So here we are. Um, and I'm Amp Sir Easy, Alpha Master Pimp Sir Easy. Active dominant in this lifestyles, these BDSM lifestyles since the 80s, 70s. Yeah, way too long for most people to even imagine. And I'm trying this new format. Um, to see how it works. Um, yeah. Let me see if I can find a way of uh working on this chat. So in order for me to do that, I have to enable channels. Ooh, that's not what I was looking for, huh? All right, I guess I'm back. I'm still working with this. Instead of me really getting that deep, I'm go ahead and see what I can get done here. If you find me, you find me. If you don't, you don't. Okay. So I wanted to get off my mind this little subject about a lot of these newfound adult lifestyles that people now on this new multimedia are now trying to get into, play with, or whatnot. And, a lot of these people, have their own ulterior motives and whatnot. But from what I became aware of way, way long ago, was that this whole BDSM lifestyle and relationship dynamics were actually reserved for a rare quality of people, upper metaphysical type people. Wasn't for just your general public just to play with for shits and giggles. And yet, it's very discreet for good reason. But many of the people from that era up until lately reserve the reality of what BDSM provides them in their committed relationships. That in itself complicates a lot of this subject because now we're in a whole new world where people are majorly single and willing to mingle and trying to dip dive into all of these little lifestyles or whatnot, and nobody's there to stop them because, well, it's a free country now. And yet these titles really have a lot, or used to have a lot more meaning for the people who indulged into them. So relationship dynamics, rather it be top and bottom, or it'd be dominant and submissive, or it'd be master and slave. Uh, and that content actually used to exist in a manner where, just like in a yin and yang, there needed to be some form of balance, some form of semblance to their relationship. It was just a little more extra added in, the adult lifestyles, advanced lifestyles for consenting upper metaphysical adults. Now we've got past all of that, and I'm stuck with you guys, so hang on for this one. Life is what you get out of it. You know, you can pick any way you want to, or this, that, and the other. And just like in everything else, from, from the down and dirties to religion, it all depends on the amount of energy that you are willing or capable of actually indulging in respectfully. And that's where I'm at in this subject here, because, well, lots of people pick these polarities. Well, I want to be a dominant because, I want to be the boss. I want to be bossy, or this, that, and the other. And, I don't know. I'll be submissive in the bedroom, but I ain't down with that submission, or, that other stuff. And, it's slave. Oh, Lord, that in itself for people of color is just a no-no. But here we are playing with these adult advanced lifestyles and wondering why we're still getting the same results that we were doing in our vanilla world prior. And the reason for it is the same reason for people who are in religion. People got into BDSM like it was a religion. They believed in this with their whole hearts. They respected and cherished the dynamics and the protocols and the structure, because it had shown great results for hundreds, if not thousands of years prior to many who are finding the subject out, offline or whatnot. Bondage, discipline, sadomasochism. Out of all of the freaky stuff that's really involved into that whole BDSM, the one thing that really stands out the most is discipline. The discipline and the respect, the obedience of sorts, and the power of words, and how you profess them and how you own up to them. So every person who calls himself a dominant is not respectfully a dominant. They can be domineering. Every master is not necessarily masterful. Every top is just a top and a bottom. We play these things and call it, oh, we're just doing this in the bedroom. But this is something that, first and foremost, the power of words in itself is what's most important here. And I believe in this title, it's entitled How Do You Make a Dom a Master? Or how are masters, what makes a Dom a great master? That's it. It's purpose over ego. And what I mean by purpose over ego is just the mere fact that any person who wants to be a dominant, a master, a dom, whatever they want to call it, you're within your right to do so, just like anyone who wants to be a submissive or anything. But the bottom line is in your results. It's not in what you're trying to do. Anybody can buy a Bentley, but very few people can be Bentley owners. There's a certain pride in that whole thing. Same thing with dominance and mastery. And I think what we're missing a lot in today's practice of these lifestyles is the beauty, the artistic, spiritual resonance that you come to it and all of your vanilla expectations, looking for something more valuable than our typical morality that we've been kind of structured with so long in our living. And people pick these polarities sheerly out of pride. Oh, I want to be a dom because, I ain't no bottom. I ain't, I ain't in that submission, this, that, and the other. And yet many of the acts and whatnot that they crave actually fit more in the other polarities. And yet they pick them out of just sheer ego. What is the purpose of a dominant compared to a top? Dominants don't break their toys. Dominants claim that they should be dominant but not domineering, and yet most people just like to be bossy. And then there's people who, I'm a master, or I'm a pro. That's where it really hits the fan, because in a lot of cases, there's where great power, there's great responsibility. And what's missing, and has been missing for a long time lately, is the understanding of the responsibility and the pride that comes with it. Because, at the point that I transitioned from dominant to master, what gave me the ability to do so was actually the experience of actually being in a masterful position to others whom not only gave me their submission, but their desire to be of slave-like dedication to that. You can be domineering all you want to, but it's kind of like having a pet, you can be the boss of that pet all day long, but how does that pet feel about you? You can see a lot of the result of a person's dominance or mastery out of the people into which have been under their tutelage or whatnot. You can be a pet owner, but does your pet do tricks on command? How do they learn that? How do you house train? Things of these natures that, are the depth that a lot of times people miss when they want to claim these horrifics. Oh, I'm a dom. Oh, I'm a master. Oh, I'm a sub. Or this, that, and the other. The act of submission is the most powerful instinct. I mean, Jesus himself spoke about it in the most unbelievably high respects of sorts. And yet, a lot of people aren't with that whole, man, if I'm going to be a dominant, how can you be a dominant unless you learn how to be submissive first? And submission is something that we all have to realize that exists in what we do, because we submit to the character into which we portray. We down for that. You can say you are submissive in the bedroom, but you ain't nowhere else, and this, that, the other, and that's kind of fine unless you're not playing in the bedroom, and then, I don't get it. But the reality that I'm speaking of here is what really makes a master from a dominant. And what I found to be important in this little thing is from a personal perspective. I realized at a certain time I got off on the results. I can honestly say that the majority of all of the people that I've ever been in some form of a dynamic with my entire life, have all benefited more from our existence together, from myself and my provisions. My kink is being a provider. I like being, and some people now call that daddy dom. So I want to be a daddy dom, but they just like the snuggles and whatnot, and yet, just like parenting, we find ourselves in these situations where the the proof in the pudding is in the pudding. You can say you make pudding all day long. You can say you're a daddy or you're this, that, and the other, but if you're not really, if you really don't have a passion for being a provider, having a passion for nurturing and protecting and educating and even uh, punishing, being a good parent, kind of like being a teacher. You can say you're a teacher all day long, but until you have a high population of a high return rate on the people that you've taught, there's nothing more greater than watching someone improve in their lives by your assistance. That's what makes a good master from what people call a dom. A dom can bark orders all day long, but a good master, the art of mastery is knowing that you're working on your floor model. There's nothing more greater than someone who says that they want to be a submissive, that comes to you and they believe you, but they still hold that vanilla, kind of thing. And yet you find some that go all in. I get it. I am yours. You are my master. Even when my mind's telling me no, but my master just told me, get out your head. And they get out their head. There are people who would love nothing more than to just let it all go. Let go and let God. It's just that deep. And with great power comes great responsibility. And that responsibility can even turn into a fetish for many people like myself that crave the ability of being assistive, but not wanting to be, no sucker. I'm not going and jumping out here trying to be everybody's role model and a mentor to a whole rack of people that are just out there. Oh, this is more personal. It's past the kink. It's the other things that you get out of this. We're living our lives where we all need a hug or a spanking or a partner or a good friend or someone that's there for us when we're not there for ourselves. And that's what a lot of this mastery is really about, if you're really into it. And it doesn't take you having to get out and do this with everybody else. There's many people who have grown into these horrifics totally unaware of the structure of what BDSM and all this other stuff is about, that people are finding on the internet and saying, yeah, I want to get into that. The pride of being a good parent. We got lots of daddy doms out there that are also deadbeats to their own kids, trying to act like they're reliving their parenthood by role playing with someone who wants to be a little bitty girl and just do this, that, and the other. And yet, they're brats. They're really, grown people that, yeah, you can teach an old dog new tricks. You can. Just as much as you can teach a new dog new tricks. But if you're not a good teacher, you're wasting good tutelage. And I think that's where a lot of people confuse what a dom is and what a master is. Once you become a master, you'll understand what I'm saying, because what I'm saying here is that once you become one, once you've had a taste, it's like vampirism. Once you had that first kill, that first taste for this, that, and the other, even if you could go back and never do it again, you still know. Boy, if I could. This is deeper than that. Having the pride in knowing that those who have been under your care and your tutelage have inherited lifelong enhancements, like stovetop. Mama was making stovetop and I helped. Master made stovetop. Having the craving of being able to give back, that playing it forward, only on a very, very personal basis, is what this is all about. And a lot of times people, they talk a good game, but they're really not in this to win this, because winning is not in you getting to any finish line and whoever you got with you. It's those in your care getting to the finish line first. They're your representatives. They're, your seeds, just like in our children. We all desire them to be shining representatives of that. Even in our race, we wish that there be a credit to our race. And yet when, you include all the naked, kinky stuff that, you want to also get into, you want to bark like a dog, this, that, and the other, there are people who really get into this so deep that they want to just literally vanish out of all reality, if only for that moment in time that they're with you when they are, and knowing that they're safe in that journey. Like professional drivers or whatnot, that, are pilots that every now and then have a certain tingle about the knowing that they keep people moving, but all these people get there because I'm a good pilot. And even if I don't get, thank you for your service. Mastery is thanking you for your service. Mastery is something that you want to crave as a provider. I want to be of service to others. Therefore, mastery is almost a submission to those who crave their direction of sorts. And yet, it's not something you can push on everybody just because you want it. Because just like everything else, people can, talk a good game. Ooh, I want to be that. But when the shit hits the fan, everybody has the right to bail when need be, because this is not real slavery or submission or this, that, and the other. None of this BDSM stuff will hold up in a court of law outside of consent. And with that being said, one of the most awkward things for those who have grown to understand what a master really is about can understand how these experiences can actually end up only being a reason, a season, a lifetime. And yet, once you've had a taste of a good one and being a good one for a good one, or wanting to be a better one for the next one, or, and hoping that whoever comes to you is more serious than, oh, they just want to play this weekend with it. You know what? I'm going to be busy. Let me see if I can schedule you in, for next April. When they're all on you, kind of like when we have our children, kind of like when we get our pets and they're there. And even though you day to day may, be capable, but not necessarily feeling like I got to be the boss. I got to be the parent. I got to be, that person, this and that. When do I get a chance to be recklessly ignorant? It's like people who go into the restaurant business or a club business. Oh, I like being a server. I like being a bouncer. I like this and the other. Some people, I like being a manager. I I've had the experience of being in the management level uh, in some of these adult lifestyles and whatnot. And I think it's what helped me get past the flash and dash of booty, booty, booty. You know, it's not about sex, it's about service. And I think that's where the difference is. So you want to be a Dom? Be a Dom. Domineer all you want to. You can Dom by yourself. You can Dom yourself. But a master has a purpose. That's the reason why they use that word. You know, you can be a jack of all trades and a master of none. But when you master the ability, when you crave the ability to be masterful and assisting others who would desire willfully, the ability to be molded, to be scolded, to be cherished, to be loved, to be protected, to be worshiped. When you get a good one, just like in our regular vanilla lives, so many have grown to realize that you can look back in your life and see certain times where, man, that was a good one. If I only was ready for it then, if I was only settled and ready for then the focus, if I only, I like that one, but I let it slip away. Yeah, life happens. That's another part of mastery. Learning when to say when. No matter how much we want to be the best we can for somebody, there will be times when there will be people that no matter how much you want to be that person, true mastery is being the bigger person enough to respect the mere fact that, you know what, I know you want me to be that person, but I'm not equipped. Just because you want to be an OGYN or whatnot, don't mean you can do heart surgery. Both doctors, but a smart doctor will know when to bow out and go, you need to get a professional. You need to get somebody that does heart surgery. I mean, I can handle the coochie all night long, but heart surgery is a little bit above my pay grade. Now we're dealing with these things and these mental dysfunctions and illnesses and whatnot. And truthfully spoken, a lot of that is tied to this whole BDSM thing as well. We've only had several years since they downgraded the whole BDSM process out of being a mental illness of sorts. Not necessarily because you had to be crazy to want to get into some kinky things, but because everybody's crazy. If you have a fetish, it's a phila. Phila is a fetish, and a fetish comes from, that almost Sigmund Freud stuff, where they're formed by past experiences and traumas in your life that now have caused you to have erotic fetishisms. All of that is whatever it is, but what I'm talking about here is being a person's person, being of purpose, and realizing and understanding that just because you have that drive for it doesn't mean that you're the best for anyone who just happens to be available for you. That's been the hardest lesson for me to learn to this day, realizing that my mastery is probably a little bit too deep for a whole lot of people who would love to go down that rabbit hole. And yet, I know, and therefore I respect the right to even be the bad guy if I have to. And understand when I'm out of my pay grade, even if I would love to be what they would want me to be. And that gets into this whole other sticky, slippery slope of life where people, they could talk a mean game, but they're not really into that take a village thing if it requires them having to bow out and allow someone else to assist them. And therefore, for that reason, there yet is another indicator of mastery. One cannot serve more than one master, they say. But having a good master enough to allow them to find who's needed in their care is possible. I'm not saying you got to be all out there and poly or punk about it, but realizing that in a lot of cases, a lot of these things that we want to get into, and we want to be the sole proprietor of that for other people, is a little too much complicated unless you're really that savant into this whole thing enough that you want to captivate someone else's lives and do what you want with it. Like I said, one of the better things about life that I've known and grown to have is just the mere fact that, to my own credit, I've had many. And I'm proud to say that I'm still capable of viewing a large amount of my past partners and whatnot in their growth, knowing that it's like stovetop. Masters making stovetop. I helped. There's nothing greater than watching somebody actually improve in their life due to the tutelage and the guidance that you are capable of providing. That goes beyond just, did you come? And I think that's where a lot of this is at. And I think I just wanted to get this off my head because it had been heavy on my head this morning. And so I've decided to use this new format to see just how capable I am of. So if you have found anything in this podcast that is enlightening, educational, or entertaining, please look for my Cash App and donate, like, share, and subscribe. You good?